Hi, this is Eric Thomas in the ODOT Office of Production, and today I'm going to take a look at a Visual Basic application I wrote that will assist you in filling in the title block information on cross-section sheets. And what I've got is a design file with a group of cross-sections that were processed with GeoPack, and as you can see, these were processed with all the sheets in one model. So let me open the application. So on our ODOT pull-down menu under Excess Utilities, this one is the XS Sheet Labels application. And there's several items here that can be checked on or off depending on what you need to annotate. And up the top there's a couple buttons here where I can have it turn on or off all the items, and then from there individually pick the ones I want. I'm just going to go ahead and leave everything on. And before I process this, I need to tell the application which cross-section sheet was used to clip my cross-section sheets. So this one is just the cell cross. And then let's take a look at each of these options and what they control. So the first thing is annotating the station limits. And the way this works is it's going to look at my cross sections, and in this case I have cells, and you can see there was a cell cross, and it's going to find each cell and then find the border for that cell, and then it's going to look within that border for any reference attachments that it can find. And there's some assumptions here on the reference attachments. It's assuming the first one that was attached is the lower station, and it's also assuming that the references are named. Let me pull up my references dialog here. With the station in the name of the reference, or the description I should say, and that's put in there by GeoPack. So that's what I'm reading to get the station limits, is those reference attachments found within the boundary of the cell. The application will also work with dropped cells. So just to illustrate that, I'm going to come over here and drop one of these cells. And I'll just drop this one next to it. And now instead of a cell, I've got shapes and lines and whatnot. So in the case of dropped cells, it will find that sheet border on the sheet cut line level and assume that represents the outline of our sheet cell. So from there it's a similar process, just looking for references contained within that sheet cut line. So that's the station limits, and of course those are going to be annotated right here under the word cross sections. Clear overlapping offset labels, that's used on the bottom of the sheet. These sheets were clipped with GeoPack, and I used a method to extend the clipping limits out to include also the quantity columns. So in that case, you can see my offset labels at the bottom. GeoPack has annotated 70 feet to the right here, and looking at the left side of the next sheet, you can see it's annotated there to the left. So that's what the clear overlapping offset labels does, is it will look for any labels outside this limit on the right side or outside this limit on the left side, and clear out those labels that it might find. There's an option for adding the seating column, and also one for adding earthwork column totals. So what those two options are doing is just looking at our volumes columns for cut and fill, and also on the seating side looking at our square yards column. So what it's looking for is any text that falls within that column, and when it finds that text, it'll add it up and put the total down here. And the text can be in the active file, or the text can be referenced in, as I have in this particular example. Turning off unnecessary cross-section levels. You can see here on my cross-sections I have several levels that we don't want to show on our completed sheets. I've got the GeoPack cross-section cell, I've got earthwork shapes, I've got these information-only annotations placed by criteria, I've got lines for pavement layers, lines here for criteria, or text here for criteria mark point text. All these things are not normally shown on the cross section and should all be turned off. So what this option does is just go through each reference attachment and turn off any levels that we know we don't want on our cross sections. There may be other levels that you may need to turn off, but this will at least take care of the ones that ODOT definitely does not want to see, that are typically generated through the GeoPack process. The route name, you can type in a name here, and that's appended to the word cross sections. So this is my State Route 185 project. So I'll just type in SR 185, and that will be appended to the word cross sections. County route and section will come down here. So we'll type that in. And then the last two options are calculated by and checked by initials. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and process this, and it'll take a few seconds as it goes through and finds each cross-section cell. Then within each cross-section cell, it's got to find all the reference attachments that fall within the boundaries of that cell, and then go ahead and do its thing as far as labeling and turning off levels, etc. Okay, the process is complete, so I'll go ahead and dismiss this. And we can see right away that those unnecessary levels have been turned off. And as I zoom in and look at different portions of the sheet here, you can see the totals are entered. The extra offset label has been cleared out. Over here on this side, there's my seeding quantity total. And that's the sheet that I had dropped status on. So you can see it did find the information there on a dropped cell. There's the route name appended, so I have cross sections for State Route 185. My station limits, 52 plus 75 to 53 plus 25. Let's double check those. That's right. And of course over here, the offset label has been cleared out. And then the last thing is the initials. So just a little utility to help automate that information. In this particular file, there were 20 sheets, which isn't a tremendous amount of cross sections, but that's still tedious to go through every sheet and complete those tasks and fill in that information. So hopefully this will help speed up the process a little bit for you.